I'll just be rambling and talking. Hey, and Goodnow, revolutionaries. Welcome to the Rise Up Morning Show. Today is Monday, January 19th, and this is your place for helpful news, commentary, answers to your crypto questions, and commiseration with your crypto friends. This comment, Alex, comes in hot to the mailroom from the Steckler-ish department of the Rise Up Morning Show, Robot Steckler-ish, with an update. My buy orders hit 20 minutes before the big dump yesterday. Boo. Sorry, Steckler-ish. And sorry to you, everybody who also bought the top before yesterday's little decline. Godspeed.
Happens to the best of us.
Yeah, and the worst of us. I've done it before too. So you're not alone. And I know it's on our docket to talk about why did the market go down yesterday? What happened? If you're listening in the future, first of all, hello, I hope your candles are green. If you have a question about something going on in crypto right now, being where you are, don't hesitate to drop us a comment on this stream or to jump into the community where the show lives 24/7, community.rumshq.com. Alex, that seems like as good a place to start as any, but first I must know, how are you this fine Monday morning?
I will say it's cold here. Like, almost actually cold.
Yeah.
I talked to my parents the other day, so I know that it's not really cold, but it is Georgia cold. And so that's a thing. It's in the 30s. Cats are cold. Ooh. We're all cold. The dogs are angry. They wake up in the morning to go outside, and you just open the door, and that wind hits them, and they just look at you like, I'm peeing in the house today, buddy. But no, I'm good. I'm excited to be back for another week. I'm tired. It's counting down the days to the end of the day job. We're getting there, but it's exhausting.
It is 14 degrees here, Linda says, and very windy.
All right, so we got about 20 degrees on my parents right now. It's 31 right now.
Man, it's about 30 right here, and according to Bearded, the chief fact officer, it snowed in Fort Walton Beach, Florida, so you know it's cold if it's snowing in Fort Walton Beach. Hopefully where Will is traveling, Will is going to be out this week. He's taking a little bricky break, and as part of that, he's going to be on a cruise. So hopefully he's cruising where the weather is nice. 22 degrees, Craig. Everybody's rolling in cold. Damn, man.
Chilly. Ooh. Yeah, it snowed in Georgia. Not here, but not too far away. Saw some, the highway traffic cam footage and stuff, and it was...
Dude, I feel like...
There was some stuff.
If it's going to be this cold, it might as well snow. So send some of that snow over this way.
It rained all day yesterday, so it was wet and cold.
It's a rainy night in Georgia. Who sings that song? Do we know? That sounds like a song that would be on your playlist right after some Otis.
Sounds like it. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of Georgia singing in Otis's songs, but I don't know that one.
There is a lot of Georgia singing in Otis's songs. Okay,
I mean, it figures he's from Georgia, but
he is. Is he really?
Yes.
All the way to Memphis from Georgia. Not that it's terribly far. I guess that makes sense. Okay, so here's what's on the schedule today for all my friends in Radio Land. We have advertised it as Crypto Cold Wallet Q&A, hot versus cold storage, moving your crypto and more. But I want to make you aware that we are now doing these cute little posts on all our socials. Week of shows where you can get a glance at who the booked guests are, if there are any. You can see the kind of topics we plan to go over, all the different shows we have, whether or not it's broadcasting live or it's dark. For example, tomorrow, by which I mean tonight, Doug is going to drive solo on Market Watch. You can see all the stuff there. We post this everywhere we live, and we want you to feel like you got a good plan for what's happening on the show. If you've got a suggestion for something, let us know. Alex informed me this morning, too, that we need to talk a little about the antics that dropped the market. We've got a little AI update because our team has been obsessed with figuring out Claude Code. And we've also, of course, Got to talk DeFi. So leave your questions in the comments. Check out the calendar online. Alex, tell me why is the market down? Everybody was commenting, the market is crashing, the market is crashing. What's happening? What's going on?
Why is Bitcoin sad?
Bitcoin
is sad because our government is manipulating the markets again. And it's the same shit every time, right? So the long and short of it is that we had a bombastic tariff announcement, over the weekend, which is prime time. Will was actually telling me that Doug, I don't know if there you are. Apparently Doug was telling Will that, was it historically the Sunday before MLK Day is rough on markets. And so, couple that with the fact that our administration just can't help but manipulate the markets. We're now in the final hours of countdown before, one of the Zach XBTs or Arkham or someone like that posts a tweet about how many, or, some mysterious account that took out a crazy short right before it happened and made a shitload of money, because that happens every time. So that's all it is. Absolutely nothing that actually affects the market in the sense that, something terrible has happened to crypto. We didn't get any terrible news. It was just, this time it was the threat of a bunch of tariffs on a bunch of our allies for, political and economic leverage and pressure over this whole fucking Greenland situation. And figured why not squeeze as many people as possible. And then several $100 million of levered longs on Bitcoin were wiped out as it fell about $4,000 relatively quickly, and seems to have, at least for the moment, stabilized kind of wherever it is. Because I do preach the old profit taking, I managed to, if you look at my turbo Sol little chart, gives you those little dots, like exactly where I put a screenshot and circle the other day. Gives you a little dot, wherever you bought or sold.
Yeah.
I sold the perfect exact top. And so we'll probably re-enter there because now it's down significantly from where that happened. But I felt good about that, and it had nothing to do with charting or timing, because I can't do either. It was just, I don't know, there's got to be some law of repetition. The fact that this is just what I do every time, every time you get a crazy spike or a crazy drop, you got to do something. It's prepared to capitalize some way. So yeah, that's why the markets are sad.
It's it's genetics. Your mom, the best trader in our community, she did the job well. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, Alex.
Amen.
You gotta accept it. It's in your genes. Somebody I was following on Twitter was talking about it, and they said, the market crashed from some more nonsense tariffs BS. That's wild. I wonder if the admin is going to arbitrarily fix it in a week or something and make a shitload of money on the trades they set up. Wait, this is you, Alex. This is you. Just kidding, man. I detected the saltiness a mile away, and I said, all right, okay. And honestly, that does seem to be the strategy. Is
that's the playbook.
It's getting harder to joke about this, and I don't say it to be politically divisive, but I really am having a very hard time. I've never been very nationally politically engaged, but I really am having a very hard time as somebody who gets on and hosts a community of people from around the world and is concerned about, I don't know, we're trying to take Greenland? Are you kidding me? You know what I mean? There's just so much. I don't know.
I always tell people, because I think that's a sentiment, and I think that you can talk about it without, being, unnecessarily targeted towards any one particular person or group who have an opinion. But you can pretend that you have a desire to be apolitical, and maybe that is because we're all exhausted. I am. But, at the end of the day, I think the best way I ever heard it described was someone was saying, I don't care about politics. And the answer was, yep, well, you might not, but your boss does, your mayor does, your city council does, everyone who works around you does, the people who write your checks do, the people who collect your taxes do. You can not all you want. It's everywhere. And unfortunately, not despite, because it's not like this had any hope in any way, shape, or form of ever deterring any of it from happening. But like, I've been void screaming about how bad it is to get the government and politics involved in crypto for a very long time. And now here we are, and it's one of the most political pieces of all of this right now. It's at the heart of so many things. And that sucks, because it's like a bunch of people with ulterior motives, with a weak understanding of how all of this stuff works, screaming about it the loudest with the biggest megaphones. And they also happen to have their finger on the button that controls the market.
Yeah.
So it's political whether you like it or not. Sorry.
No, I get that. I realize I didn't say today is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So, today of all days, I think to myself just about the difference between trouble and good trouble. And I feel like I can't talk about it without getting political. So I'll keep it brief to say I do really worry that folks will wake up one day and those people who didn't see it this way will say, that was World War III, and we were the bad guys. And it just pains me to think of how many people will have to suffer because of our power until then. So that's what I've got.
Yeah. Well, it's the attitude that we can, so we should.
Look at this. Bearded reports a so-called gambler booked about $1.83 million in unrealized profit on an ETH short opened 3 days ago, then rotated into a $30 million Bitcoin short at 40x leverage. Bearded, I wonder if it was that same wallet that shorted before the 10-10 collapse. That person seemed to have some knowledge about how it was all going to go down.
I will say, first of all, that doesn't surprise me at all. That's exactly what I thought. And two, if it was literally the same wallet, then these people are even stupider. Or they're just that brazen. That would be so audacious if it was the same one. Because, I mean, what more would you need besides like someone being like, that's mine, I knew, that's why I did it. That's about the only way that you could escalate more, is like, oh, the same one again? Which one of the children was it? Is about my only question. Fucking bullshit.
Yeah, I appreciate this comment from
I
appreciate the comment from pre-Facebook millennial who says it's not political at this point. It's good versus evil. And I hate dichotomies. I don't believe there's any us versus them. I believe it's all us. And the job is just, how do we cast a bigger net? How do we invite people to see and tell a better story?
And I keep telling you that that's cute, Evan, but that's not how it works.
I'm telling you, man, that's the whole challenge. One day, at the end of it all, we'll be there on our lawn, sipping coffee.
I think you're talking about like two different groups, though. Like, I don't think that there's no really right versus left kind of a thing. We all have a base desire to be okay.
That's right.
And right now, most people aren't. So that causes lots of friction, especially when the group that actually does have the dichotomy that's being referred to in that comment there is very capable of taking a group that are not okay and giving them a direction to channel their rage. So that's the us versus them. It's all of this versus like this little pocket.
Yeah.
Way up here.
Yeah. I think it's soldiers for an army, and the army is a force that is bigger than any one human or person. Jay Heat says us versus them leads to camps, so Evan is right. Just saying. But then Doug quickly on his tail says, oh, it is 100% ruling class versus working class. And I do think the arrangement is such that we talked about it on the show the other day briefly. The term I heard and that I am liking is neo-royalism. There is a certain class of people with a particular amount of power that use that power to reward their friends and allies and punish or threaten their enemies. And that's the way the dice game is right now. So we got to tell a better story. Got to rise up, people. Okay, Alex, maybe that's a good time to pivot to DeFi. You had an anecdote.
Because
you said
nothing threatens this nonsense, archaic, geriatric financial system more than DeFi. Because what is the biggest threat to the system as it stands, Evan?
It's definitely not you and me, man, but probably
class
education.
Mobility. You nailed it. That's exactly what it is. And I've been thinking about the whole thing framed this way ever since Emily Herrick, co-host of Trust Issues, phrased it this way, talking about this book that is the first book on the Trust Issues book club, The Mystery of Capital by Hernando de Soto.
You're doing a book club now?
Yeah, dude. Well, Emily gets all the credit. She's organizing it. But the first book is The Mystery of Capital by Hernando de Soto, and the whole premise of the book is why has capitalism, and I'm going to put this in quotes for everyone in podcast land because this is kind of the debate, why has capitalism, quote unquote, worked in the West and failed elsewhere? And, you know, his theory is that it all has to do with access to capital and velocity of capital, and nothing has added more access or velocity to capital than tokenization as a concept and as a technology. So if you give a tremendous number of people the ability to actually leverage things that they have that they've never before considered could be included in their capital wealth, if you give them the ability to do that, what do? You threaten the very structure of the class system. And all of a sudden, it becomes easier, not saying it is easy, but easier to escape the confines of a lower socioeconomic class or status. Because all of a sudden, things that you have that you may not realize are worth something can be materialized. You can use them in different ways. Your access to places where things can, you know, be used in liquid markets is much closer. The barrier to entry is much lower, and that's a huge threat. Which is obviously why the entire banking lobby is out in full force campaigning against it. And of course, in what should not surprise anybody, Congress was like, "Oh yes, roll over," because they're on our side. So, yeah, let's talk about DeFi because it's inevitable. And the people who should be scared are scared, but they could be more scared.
They could be more scared, and the timing couldn't be more appropriate as banks rush to get licenses or build structures and roll out policies, products, and services that allow them to tokenize their deposits, meaning your deposits that are held on their balance sheet, and then use the velocity Alex talked about to get even more for your money and pass comparatively even less along to you. Have you seen this graphic really quick before you get into it by the Federal Reserve? This is made by a person like us, but it's taken from U.S. Federal Reserve data. They have really interesting distribution of household wealth data. This is a tired talking point, but this is one of the reasons I am so excited that our audience skews older. Though, hey, if you're a Gen Zer, a Zoomer, or an Alpha baby, as they say, hey, you know, drunk here. Can't believe we're so old, man. This is important to you. For people in podcast land, wealth, it's shifting, but in a really interesting and still important for everyone way. If you're a baby boomer, that money you have, even if it doesn't feel like a lot, generationally speaking, is the lion's share. Gen Xers have come into their own recently, but millennials are on the rise. That means, one, we need to help people who are older, who thought their wealth was secure, who thought retirement was guaranteed, to figure out these tools and learn how to use them safely. And I think it also means that as younger people who feel like there's not enough upward mobility, there's no promise or chance, if you want to have a chance, it's going to be escaping the system. So in a world where we are often pitted against each other based on the generation we came from, I think it's really important for us to sit in rooms like this together and focus on helping each other learn this stuff, because we all bring different assets to the table. So speaking of assets, Alex, products and services, where do you want to take this? Are you gonna give the 1, 2, 3?
Basically, the thing to realize about all of this is that the most significant lever of power that you have as an individual is what you do with your money. And the only reason that things money-wise don't really change is because we might look at what we have as individuals and think that it's insignificant, so why bother? Which is a really easy trap to fall into, because everything around you is expensive. It's harder and harder to get everything. even if you, I don't know, it's very easy to get bullied or pushed into this corner of feeling hopeless and helpless, and then why bother? Plus, we just live in an economy of necessity. There are lots of things that you have no choice. You simply have to go acquire. And all of those places of acquisition are owned by the same 6 people. So all your food, all your utilities, all of your clothing, all of your everything, like random little anecdotes just really drive the point home. Do you know how many companies there are that own eyeglasses, like that make and manufacture eyeglasses? Because it's like 2. Every company just comes from like 2 places, no matter which retailer you're buying them from. And that's not, unique to eyeglasses. It's everywhere. And now it's coming for information. We're in the age of media consolidation now, which is why independent media is so important. Because, it is, at least so far, something that is not owned by Larry Ellison. Yeah. So in that sense, yeah, the cool part about this whole thing is that you can opt out of the current banking system. And the magic is that you've never been able to do that before because there was nothing to opt into as a result. Like if you opted out of banks 50 years ago, what did that look like? Cash under the mattress.
Yeah.
What's it doing for you there?
Yeah.
Hoping that like no one breaks in and finds it or your house doesn't burn down or whatever. Like it's completely stationary. At least the bank doesn't have it, but it's not doing anything for anybody. It's just debasing, inflating, and losing purchasing power every year. And so now there are a bajillion places that you can go instead to just at least start doing something else.
It's a technical term.
Yeah, bajillion is a technical term. So I don't know. Right now, I'm just like I'm full tilt in finding as many protocols that exist as possible. Kind of batching them out into different strategies. So you have your borrowing and lending protocols. You have your looping protocols. You have DEXs where you can just swap, trade, etc. There are staking protocols, liquid staking protocols. There are restaking. There's all sorts of methods you can do with these things. And the cool part is that all of this stuff, it's not new. Crypto did not like invent the concept of, borrowing against one asset to buy another asset to leverage, the power or the upward percentage potential of that asset against the first one while the first one is safe. My favorite example for someone is Elon Musk and Twitter. How did he buy Twitter? He did not have $40 billion sitting in cash in the bank. He levered against his Tesla stock and was able to buy the whole thing without really spending anything. And you've never been able to really do that before, but you can now. And so I think everybody should be out there with a wallet that has a little bit in it, whatever is a reasonable amount to you to experiment with or to spend on the exploration. $10, $20. You'd be amazed at how many things you can try with $20 before you run out of that. And how much
money people spend when they don't have to while they're just trying stuff.
Mm-hmm. So I actually wanted to toss up this post, Evan, if you can help me with the screen share. I did quote tweet this yesterday, and I will have the link to it in Circle, and perhaps we can throw it in the show notes underneath here. But this is a really, really well-written, very terse and concise. Terse and concise. You like that?
Not really.
List of, and succinct.
And also brief.
But thorough. List of... Brother. So the title is, most people lose money in red markets. I don't. And this is just a giant list of all of the ways that this individual is putting assets to work. And there's a good list here. So here are the
highlight a couple for us for the people in podcast land especially.
So I'm going to scroll all the way down and then we'll come up and hit. So the first category is what they're doing with their Bitcoin, their Solana, their stocks, their gold, and their stable coins. And it's a good little chunk. There's a little bit of overlap in the protocols, but here's a few. Some of these names you might recognize and some might be new to you. So, they say most people hold Bitcoin and just wait. I make Bitcoin produce more Bitcoin. DeFi Carrot lets you convert CBBTC, that's Coinbase's wrapped Bitcoin, to leverage 2.8x-ish Turbo BTC, no traditional liquidation. Solve Protocol best managed Bitcoin vault on Solana gives you 3% constant yield. Camino has an XBTC and CBBTC borrow loop where you can leverage those, borrow USDC against it, supply that USDC to another vault and earn 8% on it. So you basically take the Bitcoin, turn it into USDC without selling it, loop the USDC and earn a pretty sizable interest rate in different places. In some of these too, you can actually earn on the Bitcoin while it's sitting there borrowing the USDC, which is pretty cool. That's kind of the magic of wrapping there. We can get into that later. And then Loopscale, which is the one I was exploring more yesterday, Zen Bitcoin Vault with an 8.5% yield. These are all kind of leveraging different strategies on different protocols. They all carry different risk profiles, and it's important that you understand at least what the specific risk is before you opt into something. Usually it can be pretty much boiled down to just the idea that the vault, the curator of the vault, or the protocol that I'm using here could go under. And if that happens, you could lose money. So it's important to look for protocols and vaults that have been audited that will display the audits. It would be good if you can read of those audits from a third party, not them. And usually you can do that if you go to the protocol, like DeFi Carrot, for example, go to the front page, scroll down, they have their 3 audits and you can follow those out. And you could go look about those audits on the platform and the auditor. You can get information there. Do that for everything. And if you can't, then probably red flag. So moving on, Solana. And I am beginning to agree with this because I'm currently kind of working through, and I've been talking about this a lot, like designing these loops, these paths. I shouldn't say loop because that's actually a DeFi term. These different paths that you can take from holding the base asset to what you can then do with it to climb up that ladder. So I really like this analogy of using DeFi as a ladder. You can stand on the ground with your stable coins, or you can go to the first rung, which would in this case would be buying Solana or buying Ethereum. And then every step, every rung go up on the ladder, your risk gets a little higher because you have farther to fall. You're more removed from the ground where your stable coin is because you're layering the strategies that you're using with all these different DeFi protocols. But you can reach more stuff. So, the risk to reward ratio increases as you climb the ladder, but it is still riskier. So that's worth noting. But I will say that I kind of agree with this. So their claim is that Solana is one of the most capital efficient assets in DeFi. Yeah. In my experience, I have found that to be true. What that means, and what I'm taking that to mean, is that there are more options to increase yield and velocity with Solana as an asset comparatively to other smart contract platform ecosystem blockchain native tokens. Ethereum also has lots of options, and those are that's the backbone of DeFi. That's where it all started. But Solana has really slingshotted off of the foundation that ETH built, and there's just some tremendous options there, and they move quick. But of course, risk is what it is. So Hilo is another place where you can leverage Sol. It works very similarly to DeFi Carrot's Turbo option. Same, ultra low liquidation risk. So much so that they claim it's just liquidation proof. Then Loopscale, so you can wrap the token and get X Sol, which is the lever token, same thing as Turbo Sol, and then you can supply that on Loopscale for more yield on top of it. So there's a loop for you there. The best way to think about a loop is, take an asset, borrow against it, take the asset that you borrowed, supply it somewhere else, compound the interest that you're earning. Camino, a number of different vaults with decent APY, 8 to 9% with, they say no risk. I would call low risk because, of course, there's always something. And then ways that you can multiply it up 15, 20% with the application of some leverage. Piggy Bank is one I haven't really explored yet, but you can take tokenized stocks there and also supply them. So if you have tokenized S&P 500 shares, you can take them there and earn an additional 5%, for example, which is pretty cool. They have a number of vaults that they curate. Stocks, same thing. So back to Piggy Bank, Loopscale, Camino. These names are going to continue to come up. They're all pretty big. Camino is one of the bigger platforms on Solana by TVL. Gold DeFi Carrot now on this list because they've added Turbo Gold, so you can buy tokenized leveraged gold there, which is also interesting. And then this one, Oro Gold, I was not familiar with it, but it's on my short list.
Oro is a stablecoin pegged to gold.
Stablecoins, speaking of which, so lots of interesting ways to loop stablecoins across different things. You know, everyone and their grandmother's got a stablecoin now, so depending on how much risk you're comfortable taking, you can loop your way to 30, 40, 50% APY. I found a couple vaults yesterday through Loopscale specifically that could get you up to like 200% APY. They were all full, and I don't really fully understand them yet. So that's kind of on my like homework list. But I gather that they basically just kind of seek out and find the craziest loops that they can, facilitate them, and, you know, take a slice and give you the overall thing so you can kind of basket your way to these crazy loops. But like, again, relatively small. That's not consistent. That APY is not consistent. It really shouldn't be expected and should carry with it the warning that anything that high is incredibly risky. And there you go. So that's kind of the, I'll share this one. This creator is a pretty good one to follow. It does a lot of talk about different DeFi protocols and just experimenting and what kind of rates you can expect from here, there, or whatever.
Can you read the handle aloud for us again so podcast landers can have something to look forward to? And
their handle is just at JUSSY_world.
Jussie.
Never spoken to him, but trying to.
And who was the one the other day that you pulled onto the stream and the screen share? There was another really good one.
Could have been Fabiano.
Fabiano Sol.
Yep. Another good DeFi researcher, but quite a few. So I have a pretty good handle on like the 30,000 foot view of a lot of different paths you can take on Solana. So the next mission is to do it on ETH.
Okay, beautiful. Yeah. And let me just say, if you're wondering where you can get this article, you want to read it right now, then the place you need to go is community.rumshq.com. I have shared the link with Tori, and I'm sure she'll post it as soon as she can. And if she doesn't get to it, I will get to it. We will get to it after the show. But it should be up there imminently. I see Tori is typing in the general chat right now. It takes 2 seconds to sign up. It's a great place. There it is. Boom. To get the crypto alpha we share here on the show. I want to make the caveat, Alex, you said it, but I want to be plain, that if you are new to this, there is absolutely no rush to pour all your money into one of these vaults because you see it's earning 30%. What Alex said is true. These yields, they are temporal. We talked about brief, we talked about concise, we talked about short term. It is probable that this person has done enough of this to really be a farmer. Bearded, how do you start training on the farm? You probably, I imagine, learn to sample the soil, learn to watch the weather. One day you learn the different tools. It's an ongoing educational process. It's a curriculum. You don't just buy a piece of land and then sign up for a bank loan and hope for the best. Maybe you do. Maybe I'm out of touch. But that's why we call it DeFi yield farming. It really is like being a professional farmer. You got to check the weather. You got to check the soil. You got to touch on your crops. You got to adjust how you're feeding them. To expect 30% APY to park it, set it, and forget it for the next 10 years, you're not going to get that. So it's better to take these kinds of things a step at a time and learn skills that will translate to the next place you go. Focusing on one ecosystem like Solana or like ETH or like XRP. It's a burgeoning DeFi ecosystem, so there's not as much to connect to or do, but one objective, it'll help you to go further.
Not as much?
Not as much, yeah.
By that, do you mean actually the best DeFi opportunity for XRP exists on Solana because they finally wrapped XRP on Sol?
I don't doubt that at all. Solana,
that's about the only place you can do anything that's like standard DeFi.
I've heard some people talk about this new protocol, Metallicus. We had a comment about it here, and I've heard about it. So far as I know, though, mostly the only way to do a lot of DeFi on XRP is to use like
Solana.
Well, yeah, but I meant like on the XRP ledger is to use assets that I would call mostly untested with liquidity that's just not as deep with, stuff it's hard to do a looping strategy because looping requires you to get like one kind of asset and arbitrage it for another. And in a place like Ethereum or Solana, you have so many assets that are useful, that are active, that have liquidity. There's a much more robust menu of options for people to pick from who are designing these kinds of strategies. Because that's the secret sauce. And then I'm kicking it back to you because I know you had a thought, is not to find one of these strategies on someone else's Twitter post. That's great. But it's to have enough acumen yourself to be able to look around and say, who's lending USDC for the cheapest? Camino's lending it at 0%. And what can I use that to borrow? Oh, Bitcoin is down right now over here. Let me, you know what I mean? It's the difference between a cook who prepares from a recipe another has authored and a chef who senses that two ingredients together prepared a certain way might make a delicious meal. So you got to cook a little, then you can learn to be a chef. Alex, I'm sorry. Tell me more about the dearth of DeFi on the XRP ledger.
It's not that it's like a dearth because of a problem with XRP. It's just not the point. And that's also not what the demand of anyone holding the token is. There's no market for any of it. There have been attempts going back years to get something started, but the simple fact of the matter is that almost no one who holds XRP is interested in doing anything with it except for holding it. That's the point of it. There is no demand to set up all of these protocols. They would have zero users. Do you remember? I mean, because look, and every now and then someone tries to throw something up there to like participate in something that other networks are doing. How did XRP meme coins go? You had like one or two. It was the same as the way that Multiverse X, formerly Elrond, did meme coins too, right? You ended up with like one or two. They ran for a little bit. You know, it's the same 8 people participating in it. It eventually failed because, of course, it did. And here you go. And that's fine because it's not the point. You know, it's this idea that like not every blockchain needs to be a general purpose and all of the same generalities. That's the case. XRP is not a DeFi ecosystem, and there is no one working on it to make it so. And even if they did, they would be selling to an audience of 6. So there's really no point.
Dude, did you see Emily's post about XRP being a meme coin? I thought it was so good, and it was really well articulated. The point is not that Ripple, the XRP ledger aren't valuable products. It's that, like Alex said, these are ecosystems designed for something different, and unfortunately, the way they have been designed is that value is probably not going to accrue because of who gets permission to tokenize assets there to the XRP token. XRP, she said, is a meme coin. And man, though I'd heard people say that deridingly before, she broke it down and I was like, honestly, yeah, you're right. And it might be the best meme coin we have.
I mean, without a doubt.
Company, you know?
Yeah, without a doubt. But again, I think that saying that with not enough context exclusively makes people angry, which is why I said, yeah, that would be a hook. Don't come for me.
Yeah, exactly. So we can unpack it, but I do want to highlight some of these comments. Schmack
I
was
don't want
saying,
to unpack it.
Okay. Easy peasy.
I will absolutely die.
I do want to highlight some of these comments, like Schmack, who says, it'll be great when, Schmack, I lost it one day. This will be automated and we can survey the whole field of options. Shout out JSB from Carrot coming to the rescue. Think agents will change this massively. There are already meaningful attempts to solve this problem. Many of them were branded DeF-AI, like DeFi, but instead of I, it's AI. And instead of standing for decentralized finance, it stands for decentralized finance plus artificial intelligence. Meaning, imagine you had an agent like Gemini or GPT or Claude, but that could manage a wallet you owned and could be prompted to, for example, move $1,000 into the best performing yield farm for USDC on the base network. Clankerbot, Bankerbot did this with token creation and allocation. There are others. We've talked about HeyAnon. We had DeFi Daddy on the show talking about HeyAnon, which opened a Telegram wallet and could manage the private keys for that wallet to direct your funds. And I imagine every platform is going to have something like this for their pools. And the real challenge, Schmack, and everybody listening, is going to be who owns that private key? Because remember how crypto works, right? You prove you are the owner of a private key. You secure it with your seed phrase. You never give that to anybody. If you're on a platform like Coinbase, or you're using a wallet in a platform like Telegram, you are trusting other people to take care of your assets. An agent like that will necessarily need to know your private key, or will have to pioneer some way of giving that agent temporary access. Maybe you sign permissions to it. Maybe it's controlled by a smart contract. There are lots of little technical details, but that's exactly where we're going. Alex, have you interacted with any other agents like that kind of do the thinking for you? Are there any that you're not as concerned about, or any you're actually seriously playing with more than just like experiment money?
No. And it's that, I don't know, it sketches me out.
Sketches me out too. The private key management is the thing.
Yeah, no thanks.
Now, since I mentioned, and since you mentioned a lot of different AI tools, do you think that this is a good time to roll a little artificial insanity?
Yeah, let's do it.
This is Artificial Insanity.
Our team, as I said, has been obsessed with getting our hands on Claude Code. The most recent update, it sounds like, really cooks. If you're not using learning models, language models, GPT, Gemini, to start improving your life, here are some of the different ways you can do it. Just dream a little with us. Alex, what has got you excited about Claude Code, or what have you tried with it so far? What are you thinking that you wanted to share?
So basically what I've been doing is, speaking of giving agents access to stuff, this has been kind of cool. So Claude has a feature that you might have seen make the rounds called Cowork, which has recently been pushed out and made available to everyone, I believe just Mac users right now. And what's really interesting is that you can kind of set up these specific environments, like with you and your computer, you give Claude access to specific stuff, and it can, I mean, in short, it just helps you with shit. So for example, I ran a pretty light lift experiment the other day where I gave it access to my desktop to drag and drop and to rename files on my desktop. And I have a lot of screenshots. I take a ton of screenshots. So I just had it start with that. And I was like, let's identify everything that's a screenshot, because, you know, Mac marks them a certain way with a certain file name. And I had it scan the picture every single time, name the file something more appropriate and descriptive instead of just a long string of numbers, and then separate everything into folders. And if there wasn't an existing folder that made sense to put it in, create a new one. And it took about 5 or 6 minutes, and it completely reorganized my entire desktop. And we kind of went back and forth. It was like, well, I also found like these 12 files that aren't screenshots, but are also uncategorized, you know, 3 video files and 2 other whatevers and blah, blah. You know, what do we want me to do with those? And we kind of went back and forth asking about it a little bit. And then, you know, at the end of it, I think the whole process took about 10, 12 minutes, something like that. And desktop's totally organized right now. So I'm now kind of trying to go through and have it, I would like to have it automate some stuff. So like, you know, wherein it could run a prompt on itself every morning to like get me, you know, the news of the day, and then to bullet point that with a link to the most relevant article for it, and throw it all into a document that it could then create for me, Google Doc or whatever, or just a note on my desktop, and then, you know, ping me with a pop-up every day at 7:45 before we go live that gives you the readout of top news stories or something like that. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, and I'd be really curious if anyone else has messed with it at all or had it do anything. I've resisted the urge to use a lot of these like agentic tools before, because you needed to give kind of very blanket permission, and this one seems to be much more compartmentalized, wherein I didn't have to give Claude the ability or permission to like create files or delete things or send things. I gave it like very specific permission to rename and replace, like, you know, put somewhere else into a folder or whatever. Specific files like just on the desktop. It couldn't like dig into other folders and find things and recategorize them. That would have to be separate. So super interesting. I don't know. I would say that I have an extremely surface level understanding of the depth of capability of this thing. I think that I'm effectively using, a $100,000 commercial kitchen like an Easy Bake Oven right now, but excited to learn more about it. So plug, not sponsored by Anthropic, but I would be.
Yeah, we would. Hook us up. Transmutationist says in the comments, yes, I created a Scouter AI that gathers general information for me using VPCs or VPCS. Not entirely sure. The weekly news digest, the daily news digest, that sounds interesting. Bearded had a comment here about how it excels at that.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm so slow to adopt this stuff. But after seeing you fan over it, seeing several people talk about how they've used it, I think I just struggle to imagine use cases until I see them for this kind of technology.
So
it's not clear to me.
The best way, because I agree with you, and I've also I feel like you get handed this tool and you're like, you see all these things on Twitter, on TikTok, whatever. You're like, oh, this is incredible. You can do all this stuff with it. And you sit there and you're like,
right.
Just, it's hard to come up with because you've never thought that way before. But I reframe it with just, pick a thing that you do that you spend time doing and then break it down by component and ask yourself like, okay, which of these things could theoretically become automated by this thing for me? So, and one of my favorite examples of how you have to think about these things is that video. I think I've talked about this before, but more with respect to like teaching about DeFi. You ever seen that video of the like kindergarten or first grade teacher who puts a jar of peanut butter, a jar of jelly, and a loaf of bread in plastic on a table and then asks all the kids to write down instructions to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and then she follows them to the letter?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly.
And by the end of it, she's got peanut butter and jelly all over her hands. The bread is still in the package. It's covered in goop, and everything is a mess. And the kids loved it, and the whole lesson was like, you have to be specific in your instructions. And it kind of forces you to think about, I did the same thing too. It's like, an alien comes to this planet and you want to teach them how to make an omelet, like write the instructions for it. And, people are like, oh, crack some eggs and beat them up and throw them in a pan. And it's like, okay, what's an egg? Yeah. Where'd you get it? Yeah. What do you mean crack it open? What do you do with the shell? Right? Like all these things. And so that's kind of how I've started to think about it with the AI stuff. So like, for example, if one of the things that I do regularly is like look for high yield farm opportunities in several different blockchains, and then I want to categorize the protocol or the platform that's offering that yield strategy by TVL, by revenue, by vault health, by audits completed, by age of the protocol, that sort of stuff. And I also want to then have news articles wherein that protocol has been exploited or hacked, flagged for me. You could mix a couple different AIs together, and one of these agentic ones could absolutely be the driver, wherein like Claude could theoretically open a web browser where I'm logged into DeFi Llama. The Llama AI can scan all that stuff in general. So you have a basic morning prompt that you ask it, like, give me the top 10 by APY, percentages, DeFi opportunities for USDC on Ethereum, organized by protocol in order of TVL, revenue, whatever. The DeFi Llama AI, shoutout, could do that for you, and it would give the whole thing in one list. And then Claude could then go over to a different browser tab and take all of those protocol names. First of all, from Llama, you could also get revenue and age and all that sort of stuff. Then you could go over here and like look up news articles about exploits or hacks that they've suffered before and also organize those into the same workflow. And then also scroll through social media for posts about people talking about it, or find YouTube videos where someone's explaining how it works, or find a Twitter article where someone breaks down the protocol, how it works, and put the whole thing into one document and hand it to you. And an agent could do that for you. So I just kind of think about it like, break down the tedious thing that you do, largely in the realm of info gathering, and have it organize the whole thing. And the short answer is that anything you can do on a computer, an AI agent can do. So it's just a matter of like getting to the point where we feel comfortable giving these things permission, because it's still pretty fresh for me to be like, yeah, here you go. Here's the password to this and that, and permission to change this. And, technically you could start posting things in my name. Like that all sketches me out, So I think we still have a little way to go before I personally feel comfortable with it, but the tools exist.
Yeah. And I love all these different comments about people who are working stuff together. Bearded talks about combining Perplexity with different Google apps to write scripts for docs, to export them. And I also see a number of comments here expressing a little concern. I don't know how to get started. I'm sure anything I do wouldn't be that great. There are a ton of learn by doing resources that you can use, and we will definitely put some in the community. We'll try and find our favorite free ones. If you've got one, we would love for you to drop it in the general chat or anywhere else at community.rumshq.com. We've got friends who've built stuff like Shoutout Tech CEO, the AI and crypto directory, a bunch of tools. And there are so many good, helpful tutorials online that there's no reason you can't at least try something small. And that's the other thing. If you heard Alex saying TVL and audits and this and that, and you were like, oh my God, I'm just, where does my crypto live when I send it from an exchange to my wallet? If that's you, hey, you are so welcome here. Write those jargon words down. Don't let them trouble you. You do not need to be an expert. What is it you say, Alex? Are you a mechanic? No. Can you drive your car to the grocery store? Yes. Crypto is the same way. This rabbit hole goes as deep as you want it to. We are very nerdy and very far down the hole, but we're also, me more than Alex, we're Luddites. By which I mean, Alex, could you
speak for yourself?
Yeah, Alex and I couldn't code our way out of a paper box.
Alex
probably, I could call Alex and he would help me get started. But what I mean to say is, exactly, on the spectrum, we are both at the Luddite. We know so many highly technical people. I just don't have the gall to call myself one of them when I know so many greats,
Okay, but see, that's the magic of all of it, because yes, I'm not a software engineer, and yet do I need to remind you about the basics?
I knew you were going to say it. Which leads me to say, Alex, I am going to need you to make a TikTok video. Get it a link, get it a URL, because I am ready to make a TikTok video about it, because you know what I really want people to do? I really want people to use blockchain Basecamp to simulate the wallet creation process and the transaction process. I have had so many really good questions in the last week or so about how does it work? How does it work? How does this work? How does that work?
Perfect.
Yeah. So it's in the community right now. Community.rumshq.com has the link. Just ask anyone there, where's the link to blockchain Basecamp, and you will find the entire app that Alex vibe coded.
Jay Heat also just reminded me of something really cool that exists that I haven't talked about in a minute.
Right?
Yeah, it talks about taking take the 11-hour CS computer science AI class from Harvard. So I'm assuming that is similar to the way that MIT's open courseware works. So
I bet it is.
Jay, tell me if I'm correct in saying this is awesome. I almost never hear it talked about. So this is a totally free, non-monetized YouTube channel called MIT Open Courseware. And you can go here, and they have, how many here? 7,800 videos posted. And it's effectively all MIT lectures on stuff. And you can take entire classes virtually here that have been taught at MIT. The entire thing, like all the full hour, multi-hour course load for an entire semester in all sorts of different things. So you can literally go to MIT for free on YouTube. It's super cool. I've taken a couple. They're fascinating. Obviously, the beautiful part is that, I'm assuming someone is like me. Eventually, it'll just get way overhead. You can pause. You can look stuff up. Now you can run Claude in the background and ask it questions about things that you encounter. There's tons of resources. It's phenomenal. It's such an incredible resource, and it's completely free. So shout out MIT OpenCourseWare.
Shout out.
Notably, the first TikTok video I ever posted about MIT OpenCourseWare was years ago. Actually, it was before Gary Gensler became the SEC commissioner.
Oof.
And moment of silence, because I was optimistic about his term as the commissioner, because he taught a blockchain and cryptocurrency course at MIT, and the whole thing is for free on YouTube there, and it's actually really good.
Excellent. It's excellent.
And I've taken it 3 times. It's fantastic, and I thought he was going to be great, and then he was Gary, and that sucks. But you know, the class is still good.
The class is still good.
It still holds up. Today, that class literally still holds up. I would still say it's worth it.
You're like those people listening to their R. Kelly album secretly alone in their car, and they're like, but the song is good.
All right.
Okay, I have a really good question here in the comments, taking us back to DeFi. I'm so sorry. I'm going to paraphrase it and miss who asked this question, but it was essentially, if I want to get started with learning DeFi by doing, specifically yield farming, what's one place I can go where I don't have to worry too much about it, where I can just kind of leave it while I learn? And the answer comes from another, not sponsored, but it could be friend of the show. I am talking about Aave, AAVE.com. This is what their web dashboard looks like. Technically, it's app.aave.com. I have connected one of my wallets. You can see it's a little technical if you've never been to a website like this before. They are actually rolling out an app, the Aave app, that is going to be a much user-friendlier version of this interface. But here, you can go to different blockchain networks. It will read the assets in your wallet, and you can, with the click of a button, supply assets you have a balance of. You see, I got $5 of USDC. I can supply it in a click to earn 3.37% APY. When I click, looks like this. Alex, can you assist me with the screen share? I'm so sorry, I'm leaving TikTok in the lurch. In fact, let me back up. Sound effects brought to you by my mouth. We're looking at Aave. I'll just show you one more time. Sorry, people in podcast land. This is the app.aave.com interface. I can toggle the blockchain network by clicking that little button. And when I connect my wallet using this button, oh, look at this. They've got a waitlist button for the Aave app. Using this button at the top that will say Connect Wallet on your screen, you can click, connect any wallet that you use that it detects in your browser, or scan a QR code to connect using your phone. And then once you're in, this is the interface you'll see. So you're all caught up now.
Brother, I need you to slow down on the clicks. You're zooming in and zooming around, and I cannot keep up.
Got
so
it.
The screen share on TikTok is dog shit right now. Sorry, guys. It's Evan's fault.
My
Okay.
fault. So here's where a Connect Wallet would be. It's in the top of the website. I'm going to see if I can't zoom in a little more. I'm so sorry. It is.
No, you're good.
It is tough.
Now we're good.
My wallet is connected, and when my wallet is connected, here comes a zoom out. Don't get vertigo. It will automatically detect the wallets I have in, or the assets I have in my wallet that can be lent on this protocol. Their word for that is supplied. With one click of this button, a new widget opens that will allow me to choose how much of this asset I want to supply. I'm going to supply $1 of USDC. Here's my APY. It'll tell me if there's any kind of gas fee. This is the Ethereum network. It will prompt me to sign 2 transactions when I click these buttons. The first time, I click to approve the spending of the asset, and then I will click again to supply USDC. I'll sign with my wallet both times from a little pop-up that appears. If it doesn't appear the first time, you might have to just X out and click it again. They're using APIs to connect to your wallet. It doesn't always work that great. We're early. Remember this. But most of the time, because Aave is pretty sufficiently developed, it works very well. And after you've clicked, this will change into a dashboard that will show the assets not only which you can supply, but which you have supplied. And the supply button will turn into a withdraw button. You can take out just the yield that you've earned. You can use assets as collateral to borrow and then lend. And you can take the assets that you borrow on this platform or the receipt tokens they give you if you're doing any kind of liquid staking, and you can use them anywhere you want. This is a self-custody platform, so you will need a crypto wallet to do this. Alex, I'm going to end the screen share. You will need a crypto wallet to do this, and you will need to have some gas tokens in it. Every cryptocurrency network has a token called its coin that is used to settle fees like gas fees, which you have to pay every single time you interact with a smart contract with a blockchain. So you got to have a wallet, you got to load it with some gas. You got to have some, we recommend USDC because it's a stable coin. It's not going to go up in value, to just start to play around with. And I would recommend Aave as your first stop because it's the most typical kind of interface you'll see in DeFi. 10 minutes here is going to translate better almost anywhere else than a lot of other places you might go. I do think there are some places that have slightly friendlier to new people interfaces, but Aave.com, can't go wrong. Deep liquidity, massive TVL, and they've been battle tested. So your assets, as far as safe goes, are safe there. I have a follow-up question or two. Boy Ben says, I want to know more about your trading platform. And I just want to be clear, we don't have a trading platform. If you're talking to somebody who says we do, who looks like us, they're a scammer. Our website is community.rumshq.com. That's how you can get in touch with us, learn from us, follow up, etc. What were you going to say, Alex? I'm sorry I rugged you.
No, there was a question about using Aave there as you were with hot versus cold wallets. And so it's just a good opportunity to give that little little PSA. So the short answer is there are tools that you can use to connect different cold wallets to different DeFi protocols, and you kind of have a decision to make here. So in most cases, what you're doing there is assigning a read-only permission to your wallet and giving the protocol in question the permission to broadcast a transaction for approval to you via your cold wallet. Your keys are not at risk there. Doing that does not make your wallet hot by the interaction, but not all connections are created equal. And so I would say that if you are not confident in your ability to discern what is a read-only connection versus not, it's probably not worth it to do that, because there are certainly things that you can do that will accidentally turn your cold wallet hot. Those are honestly more few and far between at this point, but it is possible. And if you don't trust the platform that you're doing anyway, the platform could still broadcast a bad transaction to you to be signed that could do something you did not intend. So my general practice is that my cold wallet is for storage, and I do not do anything else with it. If I have assets that I am actively using in DeFi farms around, there's nothing wrong with using a hot wallet. It requires a different kind of vigilance and online hygiene and internet security. However, they can be completely safe. There are plenty of battle-tested hot wallet platforms. People love to hate on them because their interface is honestly not that great, but MetaMask has been around for a long time. Phantom, recently I've started using Solflare and Rabby more. Backpack is like an exchange and a wallet in one. There's a whole bunch. So,
dude, and Solflare, shout out Solflare, is on TikTok now.
Oh, look at that.
I
that's
actually haven't used their wallet before.
Pretty good.
If you want to check it out, it's solflare.com. This is not sponsored. It could be. I invited them and would like to arrange a panel of wallet professionals. We have a lot of friends who've built wallets, who work at wallet companies, obviously partners of the show. Arculus would be there. But Solflare, I think, could be your debut on the show, a little wallet panel. You can check them out at solflare.com. And I am becoming a Rabby maxi for your EVM needs. Ethereum virtual machine, meaning ETH, Base, Polygon, any layer 2 networks. But also like Avalanche would work there. Rabby is nice. That's Rabby, RABBY.io. I really, really like that wallet. Can we get a hot wallet sponsor of the show? And can we make Solflare and Rabby wallet fight over it?
I am a big fan of this. Well, they both do different things. They don't
I know,
custody
we
the
could
same
have
stuff.
both. Oh, it'd be so great.
So there's a question, what percentage would you say is safe to have in storage? The short answer is that there is no real answer to that. It is whatever makes you feel most comfortable. If that's half of your assets, if it's 75%, if it's 10%, it really doesn't matter. I would say that as long as you've made an informed decision about what percentage you want, where, and why, then you're doing it right.
Nothing more to it. So let us know what wallet questions you have. If you're curious about cold storage, you want to make sure you're using the right wallet. The number one question I get about wallets is blank wallet safe? Or is blank wallet okay? Usually I'll make a video showing a skill, how to use a wallet to do something particular, and I always try to say, this will work the same on your wallet. Or it may be slightly different, but the principle is the same. And still I can tell that people just aren't confident with wallets yet. So the answer is, first of all, yes. If you are using a wallet from a legitimate company that has Google reviews, a Twitter presence, that you get a second opinion about in a community like Rise Up, and it supports the networks and tokens you want to use, and you find it easy to use consistently well, then it is, my friend, a great wallet. This is going to be different from person to person. There is no such thing as one size fits all. No wallet supports every single cryptocurrency network or token. And most crypto users, they use multiple wallets. So really the most important thing is getting the skills and building the discernment to see if a new wallet comes out, or a friend recommends a different product to you, or you need to sign up for a new wallet to get access to a particular token or feature or something, that you feel confident doing it. That's the key. Definitions for us beginners, Bob says, understanding this new life of crypto. Can you explain the difference, Alex, between coins, stable coins, altcoins, and tokens? Rapid fire. I'm going to time you. 60 seconds on the clock.
Yep.
Time begins now.
Coins are tokens. Coin is the term used when the token in question is the native one for a blockchain. So Ether for Ethereum, Sol for Solana, AVAX for Avalanche, DOT for Polkadot, that kind of thing. All coins are tokens. Not all tokens are coins. Stable coins are tokens that are pegged to the value of something. Most are the US dollar, but there's also ones for the British pound, the
Gold.
euro,
Barrels
franc,
of oil.
Yeah, barrels of oil, ounces of gold, etc. There's a whole bunch. As long as the token is connected, or we say pegged to the value of something specific, it could be considered a stablecoin. Means that its volatility is related to the volatility of the underlying asset.
10 seconds left. Altcoins.
Altcoins are basically everything except Bitcoin, and then tokens are anything on a blockchain.
Excellent. Well done. He did
Nailed
it
it.
with 3 seconds to spare. The only thing I would add is that the most foundational term to understand is token. A token is like the basic building block.
The only thing I would add is wordy explanation that I didn't give you time for, but now I'm going to, so that I can say that your explanation was a little bit lackluster, even though I was actively counting down in the background.
Your
Go ahead.
your
you
explanation was lustrous.
Oh my God.
I'm going to do it in 30 seconds. I'm just going to tell people that a token is the basic building block of blockchain. The way phonemes, the sounds you make, are the basic building blocks of speech. The way letters are the basic building blocks of words. Tokens can be fungible, meaning exchangeable. They can be non-fungible, meaning provably unique. And some tokens, like Alex said, are coins. They can be used to settle fees on different blockchains. What is, Linda Warren wants to know, XRP? What is it, Alex?
It's the native currency of the XRPL, although it existed before the ledger did. So it's kind of an interesting example. It is technically a native currency, but
Meaning it's a coin.
Meaning it's a coin. I honestly don't like the coin label. I think it's not helpful. I think they're
Really?
all just tokens. No, I don't think it's helpful
I think
at
it's
all.
helpful, personally.
I think it's a
I don't
one more
use it
jargon
often.
term that we don't need that just confuses people unnecessarily.
So you would just use native token. Tokens
Yes.
and native token.
It's all
Okay.
tokens. They're all
Works for me.
tokens. Some of them are native, some of them are not. That's it.
All right, I like that. But you might hear people call it the coin.
Mhm.
It is technically a coin. Fact check yourself, brother. If you
technically, you mean we've labeled it that way, but it's technically a token.
I mean, technically, like, it fulfills the functional definition of coin, which is that people on the XRP ledger use it to settle their debts and pay their fees.
Yes, by using the token with that ticker to do the thing. So we
Alex,
put
what
it
was
in
the
a
first-
separate category of token.
What was the first cryptocurrency called?
Bitcoin.
Okay. You ever heard of Bit Token?
What are you trying to prove here?
I rest my case, ladies and
You
gentlemen.
don't rest
my
anything. That's
case.
such a dumb comparison. Okay.
All right, if you've got a crypto question, leave it in the comments. We got about 10 more minutes before we need to ride our dogs and ponies off into the sunset. For the people asking, like Sonoran, Will is out today. He's out this week. He is doing a lot, and then he's going on a cruise. Womp, Ed Roderick says. Oh, it is confusing. It is confusing.
Wait, is your final position that
No,
Bitcoin is not
okay.
a tokenized data? It's not a token.
Bitcoin is, of course,
it's a what?
token.
Oh,
But it is also a coin. It is also. Oh, don't give me. Listen to me.
Tell me why.
thank you for coming to my TED Talk. My God, that applause is so long.
I got beaten by my own soundboard.
You sure did.
You're a loser.
That's what I have to say about that.
The sound of defeat.
Bearded says, let's talk about how to fix capitalism. I've only got 9 minutes, but you can come with me. Maybe I'll start a TikTok live in my car. We can rant about it. For the short abridged version, look up Noam Chomsky, and pretty much anything he says I sign off on. Although I found recently that everyone's making a big stink he's in the Epstein files. And I think mostly he just I don't think Noam Chomsky was out there rolling on the island like some folks probably were. Alex, what do you want to get into? What do you want to get into? As you were the winner of that argument, I will concede it to you.
Yes, you will. As we just argued about it, though, we created some unnecessary confusion because, like I said, coin is a stupid term that does not need to exist.
But you will encounter it, and it does exist.
You will encounter it, yeah. So the best way to think about it is that in the world of jargon, even if some of it is unnecessary, there are oftentimes words that mean effectively the same thing, but because we believe in making things complicated for no reason, they are different words. So coins and tokens are the same thing. Every single coin is a token.
They're not
a token. You.
I am not trying to be helpful. You said they're the same thing, and in that context, people will not use them the same way.
Well, okay, you interrupted me.
Sorry.
Didn't you?
I was clarifying. That's my job. Take your time.
Okay.
No
if I get to the end and I'm like, back to you, and I left something, then that's when you clarify it. But if you interrupt the sentence to clarify the next part of the sentence, what are we doing? So, again, I will die on this hill. I will not let this go. Every coin is a token. Not every token is a coin by the definition. Coin refers to special tokens that have their own blockchain. So if you take a blockchain, any one of them, and it has a token on it that is used to pay gas or facilitate transactions on the network or to facilitate the network doing its thing, whatever its purpose is, then that token is a coin. So Bitcoin is a coin. Ether is a coin on the Ethereum blockchain. AVAX for Avalanche. POL for Polygon. These are all coins that make its home blockchain work. I think it's an unnecessary term just because, sure, we could just call it a native token and then we can keep the same label of token for all of these assets that live on a blockchain. The data that proves that it is what it says it is lives on a blockchain, that makes it a token. So I just think it confuses people. I mean, look at this ramble that we've had to go on to try to differentiate the two, which I would say is unnecessary. If you understand the concept of data that lives on a blockchain being tokens, then you get it. There you go.
Now, what's the difference between a coin, a token, and a cryptocurrency, Alex? More
That's
words
all the
we
time
don't
we have
need,
for
right?
the show today. I'm going to take the rest of the week off.
And Evan is fired.
And Evan's fired.
Just got fired from my own show. Hey, and speaking of our own show, in addition to having a wonderful time together and learning a lot, we appreciate all of you for being the very best part of what we do, but I really do have to shout out all the sponsors who make this show possible. I am talking about our friends over at Arculus, Goodnow, Unlock Protocol, Polygon, and the White Whale. Give it up for the sponsors. And since we were talking about wallets today, I do want you to know that, especially if you're listening on TikTok, you can one-click out of this stream into cold storage. We have the Arculus wallet. You can get the XRP version or the plain Jane Silver version, and the purple wallet is coming soon. I'm talking about the Rums co-branded wallet.
I expect we should actually probably get an update this week because we will be talking to Arculus and design was submitted. So I think by the original timeline that they had given us, it was going to be around the end of January or into the beginning of February that the design team was done, like getting it ready to be printed, and then we would get approval, and then it would go to production. And then I think we're still, as far as I know, the rough estimate was like March, April to be shipping.
It's like an 8-week production timeline. So you've been patient, be a little patient a little longer. There's an interest form though in the community, and we will soon turn it into an order form so you can pre-order your wallet. There'll only ever be 100.
Forgot about my form.
Tell them about your form in just a second because I got to screen share it. I'll pull it up. Let me finish saying for the sponsor segment, we have been continuing the Goodnow tutorials. If you're interested in this DeFi stuff, we show you how to do it on a platform called Goodnow. Goodnow.network. They are a sponsor of the show. And we need to sit down sometime and kind of just go a little deeper on, we've tried it like 2 or 3 times, me and Alex, this last one. The first time I left him in the lurch, and he had to do the screen share himself. The second time we got some feedback that people wanted us to slow down just a little more. And so we are going to take a third times a charm crack at this Go Deeper with Goodnow tutorial. And then on Wednesday, we're having Dr. Nick Almond, thank you very much, head of governance at Goodnow, to talk more about what you can do with your tokens. I am very excited about it. So lots of stuff there. And of course, the community scholarship. If you saw the episode or you didn't, we have seeded the community scholarship powered by Unlock Protocol with $2,500 on Thursday. I want to talk to you. I'm coming with ideas. I've got a couple of ideas for what we can do with that money and the funds you have put up to increase it. But I also want to hear your ideas. If there's something you want us to fund, if there's a grant that you need, if you want to travel to a conference, if you want to buy a piece of software or hardware to make your product better, then come Thursday or leave it in the community. We are going to talk about it. And now, Alex, I have got this screen share prepped. Tell me about this form.
So whipped up a little form that we've put on the Rums website. So this is rumshq.com, not the circle. And it's right here on the top. Share your feedback. So I would really appreciate it if you guys would take a couple minutes to look through this. There's nothing crazy on there. It's just kind of trying to gather some feedback input and some anecdotes from all of you who watch the show about how, especially with regards to sponsors and how you feel watching content that is sponsored, especially in crypto. It generally, doesn't go over that well. We're trying to change the game there. So the partners that we work with, they agree to specific terms when they work with us. Namely, they don't get specific content. We are not required to post anything specific. They're not entitled to get videos on the feed or specifically sponsored commercials. I don't think they perform well. I don't think anyone enjoys watching them. I think that they don't teach the way that you do because you always have it in your head that this video was paid for. Who gives a shit, whatever. I don't like making them. Evan doesn't like making them. No one likes making them. No one likes watching them. So they're purposeless. So our claim is that if instead we work with live broadcast, we have time to give proper context, disclosures about who's getting paid to do what, more time to walk through the minutia and to address anyone's concerns and all that sort of stuff. So we're kind of trying to prove to all these companies that this is better than constantly hiring, mediocre people to shill nonsense that they don't understand in a video. You can ask questions, you can express concerns in the live format, all that sort of stuff. So this form just has a few questions. It shouldn't take more than a couple minutes to go through, and we would really appreciate the feedback. And everything that goes in this form, with your identity protected, obviously, is going to get used and routed to these different companies who are trying to make the decision whether or not they want to work with us, or specifically to change the way that they market from, shill posts on Twitter and TikTok here to, more like educational in nature, long form broadcast placement, brand awareness, sponsorship in that way. So any feedback you have, whether there's something that you think could be done better or something you think is working that you would like to see continue, that's the place, and I would really appreciate it.
And we're going to do something for people who do the survey, right?
Oh, yeah. Because we still got wallets to give away. If you take the survey and then post in the circle that you did it, then you'll be entered in yet another giveaway for more Arculus wallets.
Hey, Tori says it's on the honor system, so go to community.rumshq.com. You'll be dropped into the Start Here page, which will tell you how to create a profile. It's quick, it's painless, and then you can just post it right in the general chat. And here, Alex, are some of the responses we've got rolling in. I just wanted to read this because this is really, really touching. Unlike many creators who only show up during bull markets or push paid products while holding back key information, the Rums community provides real value, even to those who don't have a premium membership. Someone says the focus is on empowering people. This community has been the best thing that's happened so far to master crypto. I've eliminated FOMO, learned patience, built a strong understanding of DeFi and spot trading. Someone else says, before I found this community, all my crypto knowledge came from Twitter, so I wasn't really learning anything at all. Oh, no. You guys are the best. I love you guys. And I like this. This is an anecdote, but I hope it's true. The Rise Up Morning Show is probably the fastest growing community of crypto enthusiasts.
Correct.
I also hear they are the best looking.
Best hair.
Oh,
sure.
Far and away the best hair.
Yep. Best mustaches.
Yeah. No lies detected.
Nope. Yeah, that's worthy feedback too. For me to tell the sponsor, you should work with us because mustache.
Have you seen us? And if you haven't seen us, have you seen Will? Because
not lately. Although I did, my mother-in-law has one of those like red light, blue light masks.
Yeah.
And I put it on yesterday, and I texted Will, and he almost immediately called me with him and Violet both on the phone as my skincare consultant team. And Will was like, "Who gave you that? What are you doing with that? You're not wearing that every day, are you?" Why is it blue? Do you know what that's for?
Hey there, Normie.
So I had an immediate and swift intervention with my skincare consultant team to make sure that I was doing it right. And I just thought that was hilarious.
Alex texted me this picture. I thought it was a Michael Myers mask at first until I tapped on the picture. I was like, the hell are you doing right now? But yes, indeed. Okay. Thoughts on the way out the door? We had Schmack say, so stockpile computer chips, to which I added, and maybe uranium too. And lots of kind words about everybody who loves the show. Did the survey already, Bob Falble says. Thank you, Bob. It's good. It's been really good to see Bob. Bob, we're working on a workshop with our friend Sandra, specifically about how to help senior citizens understand and onboard safely to cryptocurrency. More about that later. It's about that time, Alex. Do you have a final thought for us?
Yes, I will share with you just the anecdote of my conversation yesterday with someone that I know in the real world. It was a really interesting conversation. It's my favorite kind of conversation. I honestly don't even remember exactly how we got onto the topic, but the subject of crypto came up. And their comment was just, "Oh yeah, clearly had heard of it. Clearly was somewhat familiar. Just immediately said, oh yeah, I don't trust it stuff, But my financial planner recommended that I have at least a little exposure, so I think I have one of the big ones, a little bit of it, like 4% of my portfolio or something. Figured out it was Bitcoin. I was like, okay, sweet. And we just kind of talked a little bit about like, what is it? What's the point? Why should you be this particular individual? I just know from having talked about all sorts of things, like they would be a DeFi maxi. Had a firm understanding of it, would probably pull all their money out of the central banking system and just go full degen into the DeFi space and, opt out fully. And we'd had a really interesting, they're an artist. So we talked about NFTs, had heard the term NFT, but was unfamiliar with, what it is specifically or why an artist would care about it. They have some connections to SCAD, so I think I found my in to potentially our student workshop planned over at SCAD, which I'm very excited about. I've wanted to do that for years. So yeah, it was a really good lesson. My takeaway as a teacher from the whole thing was this was yet another instance wherein I was basically talking to someone about what is it, where the audience was incredibly curious, very interested in learning, had an open mind about hearing where they might have the wrong idea. And you had to, how do you phrase this stuff simply enough to start someone from square one down, the journey of this without it being confusing. And we talked about mining and, what is a blockchain? Why is it cool? Who can contribute to it? What does decentralization mean? All this stuff. It was a really very fun conversation. It's my favorite kind of conversation to have. So, shameless plug and shout out for having more conversations with people in the real world, meeting them where they are about this stuff in a helpful way. As Evan says, telling a better story.
And on that note, my friends, thank you for being the very best part of what we do and helping us to tell a better story. We're going to be back tomorrow, same time, same place. Enjoy your MLK Day. Martin Luther King said, anyone can be great because everybody can serve. This is me reminding you that you are somebody. And we're so glad you choose to spend your time with us. So get into the circle at community.rumshq.com. Leave your crypto questions there. Leave your feedback on the forum. Get some cold storage and then get yourself some ice cream because this is a lot and you deserve a treat. One last thing on the way out the door is that Will is having some flight delays. His office hours are canceled for today, but you should still get into the community and leave him an encouraging comment like, Will, we love you. Will, enjoy the airport. Will, come back soon so the show looks even better. That's it. Until next time, everybody, stay safe. Be well, my friends. Rise up.